There we go. Okay. Yay, yay, yay. All right. So welcome, sisters. All right. Can you hear me? Everything's okay with the audio? And yeah, okay. Awesome. I'm sure more of us will be coming on, but we'll just hop in and take a few deep breaths together and open the space while I light my money candle. So just gently closing the eyes, unless you're driving, Kat. I don't know if you are, but if you're not driving and you're in a safe space, closing the eyes. We'll just take 3 deep breaths together. So a slow inhale, filling up at the womb, breathing all the way into the hips, expanding like a balloon. And an audible exhale, releasing any tension in the body. 2 more times. Deep inhale. Fully filling up, expanding. Maybe shaking a little with the exhale. And one last time. Inhale. And shake it off. I'm just dropping into the space, into this container, releasing any thoughts of the day and just being present here. Just noticing how your energy is feeling in this moment. And when you're ready, just blinking the eyes open. Okay, so here we are. Julie, can you just give me a quick thumbs up that you can see my slides here, money? Okay, good. So here I am being a gangster. At one point in my life, I had to get this picture. So there I am. And this is money mindset, which I actually prefer calling wealth consciousness. I think it sounds sexier, but we'll just go with money mindset because it's shorter. And hopefully for those watching live or those joining in later, you've already watched the 12 laws of the universe, our money or our manifestation masterclass last month before this one. So if you're watching in the future, I would definitely recommend that just to dive into more on the subconscious and manifestation before we go a little bit more specific on money and abundance. Okay, so let's begin. So money mindset or wealth consciousness is all about reprogramming the subconscious. So last month we dove into what the subconscious is and how we can reprogram it. And we kind of just touched on it a little bit. So this masterclass is going off of that, off of some of those topics. But so I'm just going to refresh you a little bit on the subconscious before we get more into the topic of manifesting money. So the subconscious stores memories and stories from our past. So as children, we were like little sponges and we were just figuring out how to make our way through the world and really just picking up on our environment. And our subconscious's job is to keep us alive. So it's not to keep us happy. It's not to keep us wealthy, pleasured, anything, but to keep us alive. So especially as a child, you were listening to the language, the dialogue around you, and you're listening to even the energy and what was being said. And our environment isn't just the biggest part of it is our parents' relationship to money and abundance that was most likely from their parents. But it's also our culture, our society, how money is spoken about, even watching TV when we were younger. Like we can pick up these stories anywhere. And just because we're such little sponges, they can stick with us into the subconscious. So for example, if at some point, I think my mom has probably said something like, these bills are just killing me. And, I'm just exhausted from paying the bills, or, oh, this work is killing me. Like language like this, we can easily just say things like this. And we do all the time without realizing that they stick into our subconscious, and our subconscious is listening and like, oh, okay, so that means money and work is suffering, and it equals death, it's going to kill us, so let's reject that. And it can come out later on, even when you make money, it can come out as overspending or not being able to hold on to money because your subconscious is still seeing it as a survival tactic. So naturally, another part of this is when it comes to our parents, another way of survival, because they were our caregivers when we were younger, another way of survival is seeking approval. So if they had, say, a relationship with money where they were rejecting it and pushing it away, and you saw that it was unhealthy, naturally in your adult life, it's like monkey see, monkey do. It's actually human behavior to mimic what our parents did or our caregivers at the time, because they kept us alive and we wanted their approval. So a lot of and it's just crazy when you actually do this work and sit with it and figure out where these stories came from and just how it comes out in your adult life. Like mine came out a lot in my relationships as well. Like people will say that you have daddy or mommy issues, but then I was like, there's no way, like me and my dad have a healthy relationship. And then when I did more research into it, I'm like, oh shit, like there's a lot here that I've been projecting into my relationships. And this goes into, your relationship with money and your relationship to your bank account as well. So it's super interesting when you actually dive into this, because at first it's like, no, I think I'm good, but there's a lot there. And a lot of our parents, like depending on your generation, either your parents or your parents' parents were most likely alive during a time of, global war, of the Depression, a time where there was a lot of scarcity and lack. And it wasn't like now where we have the opportunity to jump online and literally there's like 17-year-olds making millions of dollars on like TikTok, right? So we have like endless resources and it's just totally different times, but our mindsets and our collective consciousness is still outdated because we're holding on to times where we really had to, hold on to our money and even saw it as bad or whatever it may be from those times. So that's why doing this work is so important. So we can be like a bridge between, the generations to come to have a different, more healing around that. So a little refresher, the subconscious mind is 90% of our behaviors. So it's coming from our subconscious or unconscious. So our conscious mind is you watching me right now. It's what you're conscious of. It's when you pick up your phone and text, it's whatever you're doing right in front of you that you're fully conscious of. But 90% of everything you're doing, of even your heartbeat, of the emotions and thoughts and reactions that you have to the things around you, are all coming from the subconscious. And that's basically like this storage house of, the little things that we've picked up along the way of how to survive, and basically just keep us alive. And last month, I touched on the reticular activating system, the RAS, which is a bundle of nerves at our brainstem. And it basically is the science behind the law of attraction. And it just filters out what we think is important. So the more we focus on, the more it grows. And that's why this work of mind mastery is so important. And I really can't emphasize it enough of how consistency is the number one thing with this, just repetition, repetition, repetition. So speaking, visualizing, repeating, the hypnosis, the affirmations, like it might seem a little bit like, okay, like I'm abundant and all these things, like la la la. But actually, if you're doing it every day, like I would actually recommend you to be journaling just what's happening in your life with your money relationship. Like whenever you spend or whenever you have money coming in, whenever someone gifts you something, even if it's like a sandwich at lunch or something, like how did you receive that? And if you actually like, I don't know, some people say put their explorer hats on. I like to say like put your like sexy detective trench coat on, put it on and investigate like how you actually react to certain things and how you receive and what your language is and what your energy is around money. And if you're just doing, for example, just the hypnosis, the EFT tapping and the affirmations every day, if you record that in your journal for 1 month and look over it, you'll see like how different just the little micro things are, like how you received or how you felt when you spent a little bit of money or you treated yourself. Like it does make a difference. It's these little micro actions that we do each day that eventually add up to the macro. And then just a reminder, I like this visual because the 10% is the conscious mind. And then we can just see like the whole iceberg. It's 90% is the subconscious and unconscious. So I just like to emphasize that, like how important it is. So first and foremost, I'm just gonna have a sip of my water. I want to see the chat here. It just disappeared. Oh, there you are. Okay. If you guys have any questions too, you can totally put it in the chat today because I'm just gonna be like going on a spiel here. Okay. So, and I'll also save these with the masterclass, the notes, so you can go over them after too. So first and foremost, take ownership for your situation and your life. And I think I said this last time, but it can be hard to hear that the state of our life, the state of our bank account, the state of our relationships, the state of our sex, of our love lives, all of it is our own. It's an accumulation of our own choices and decisions. And sometimes we can feel like life is just happening to us, but the very key first part of this is taking full ownership for your situation. And this book I recommend if you're new to this work, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. It's really good. It was one of the first books I read when I first got into this, and it helped me a lot. So in that he says, rich people believe I create my life. Poor people believe life happens to me. So really paying attention to your mindset around that. Do you really truly feel that you are the powerful creator, creatrix of your life? Or do you feel that life's just happening to you and you're a victim of it? So taking the reins of your life, taking your power back, paying attention to the energy leaks, to where you need stronger boundaries, to where you're giving your power away to certain situations. And even when it comes to money, where you're not feeling empowered, and taking that back, taking control of your bank account as well. That was a big one for me. And knowing that because our thoughts are not ours, they're borrowed. So they're borrowed from our environments. That means that they can be changed, which is awesome. And I give the analogy of living on an island. And so the biggest part of this journey is coming back to the unconditioned self. And that's the whole like idea behind Unbounded, becoming unbounded as well. So if all of you hopefully watch the intro video in this program, and it's releasing all of these conditions, these invisible shackles and limitations that don't actually exist, that we've had from our environments over time, that has kept us playing small, and then discovering our true self. So I like to give the example of if you were born on a completely secluded island, you would never have, like, say there's a mirror on this island. I usually give this analogy when it comes to self-love and just accepting like our body image, especially. So if there was a mirror on this island, like we would never look at it and be like, oh my God, my hips look so big today. And oh my God, I should get lip injections, or like, look at this wrinkle that's coming in. Like that would never exist. That's 100% our conditioning. And on a deeper level, not just superficial, but internally, we wouldn't be like, I'm not worthy of this coconut. Like I already had one coconut, right? We wouldn't have that. And then if someone came on a boat and brought us into society, we wouldn't have the thoughts of like, I'm not worthy of money. I don't deserve money. Like you would see people making money and you'd be like, huh, this is pretty fucking cool. Like I can just make this like paper, and then I get to like travel with it. I get to like give things to my friends. I get to do whatever I want. Like, yeah, I'm going to work hard because it's like worth it. And we would feel worthy of that. We wouldn't have these limiting beliefs. So I like to meditate on that often, because like, who would we be before any of those limiting beliefs? And can we come back to that self? So I'm going to give a couple homeworks for today. And one of them you can put in your journal. This is an exercise to look in the mirror. And I would recommend doing this naked, and write 11 ways that you see abundance. And even if you're like confused at first, just sit with it. The first time I did this, I'm like, I don't even know what that means. And then it started to come. And then doing the same thing in nature. Or if you're in a city, just looking outside and how do you see abundance? And then reflect on what you learned from that. So 11 ways you see abundance, just looking at your own reflection, and 11 ways you see abundance by looking outside. Because we do live in an infinitely abundant world and our nature is abundant. So abundance isn't something that we're chasing outside of ourselves. And naturally, we know that, like innately. There's no child that comes into this world that's like, I'm not worthy of this milk and I'm not worthy of abundance, right? Like their idea of abundance when they come into the world is like their mom's milk and their mom's love and all of it. And they're just like, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. I'm going to cry and annoy you till you give it to me again because they know they're worthy of it. So a lot of it is just coming back, releasing the conditioning and knowing that you're fully like beyond worthy of it all and knowing that your nature is wealth, is abundant, is riches itself. So reprogramming our subconscious is really another way of reclaiming our power, taking our power back from environments and situations that we were in as a child. And, you know, as I mentioned, that we're basically just being sponges of how we could survive in the world. And remembering that you and only you have the keys to the future you desire. So I really just want to get that in to fully take our power back and know that whatever you desire, and this is, you know, in the spiritual community, there's a lot of ideas around desires. Some spiritual paths say that, you know, there's something wrong with our desires. They're not good. On the path of Tantra, our desires are very sacred and they show us, they're kind of, I call them soul pulls. So this, it's like little tugs that the soul is bringing us towards. And therefore they're sacred. It's when we over identify with them and we feel that we need to have that dream or that desire or that thing or that amount in our bank account to make us happy. So it's always starting internally first. And then everything here, everything externally in this world, we just get to play with. It's just a beautiful bonus. And touching on this topic. So is money unspiritual or bad? So if you know my story, I went from having lots and lots of money to renouncing everything and deciding that I wanted to live a full yogi lifestyle, living in an ashram, living in Nepal and India, and believing that like makeup was bad. And I cut my hair extensions out, like literally cut them at like the root one day, and I got dreadlocks, and that was like my way of releasing my ego and just like, I'm an extremist. I'm like a full Libra, and somehow that's, I thought that means that we're supposed to be balanced, but I'm actually just like one extreme to the nut to another, and I just have to like really focus on being balanced and not doing like crazy stuff all the time. So I went like one to the other and then back to the other, and then finally I found balance when I discovered Tantra. And living in spiritual communities across the world. And when I was living in ashrams, I really felt that I was still rejecting a part of myself, but I couldn't really pinpoint. Like first I was in a Buddhist lifestyle, which is really renouncing everything. You're just meditating 8 hours a day. I felt like it kind of felt selfish and like I could be doing more in the world, but then I didn't want to be in society because society's bad and money's bad and all of this stuff is unspiritual, right? So I am really grateful for the path of Tantra, which teaches us that we can be in the world. We're just not of the world, right? And that's actually something that Jesus said as well. So we can be in the world. We're just not of the world. And basically what that means is that these materials and money and success externally is not, you know, wrong as long as we're not over identifying with it and mistaking it with our identity. And this is a common like thought that we have. I'm sure everyone's heard many times, money is the root of all evil. And being around spiritual communities, I would say the ones I've been in, like over 90% of the people around me believe that and just believe that, you know, money is corruption and greed. I'm also around like reggae communities when I travel, and some of the music, like they say money is the root of all evil in it. And like, the message is like, fuck society, which I'm all about. But we also have to be super aware of the messages that we're receiving as well. And I didn't realize that with music too. And then one day I came back to Canada and I was in my old hood driving through, and I'm like, I should throw on like my old CD. I found it and I'm like, I should throw this on and like go through the hood. And then I was listening. I'm like, wow, this is like so crazy how disrespectful it is to women. Like it was like some like hard rap and stuff that I listened to every day through high school. I'm like, no wonder I was hanging around with, guys that treated me like that and called me a hoe and called me all these things because that's what the music was. And, like sometimes it's okay, but when we're listening to it every single day, it's like listening to our affirmations every day, and then we're believing it and it's coming out. So also being aware of that and just what we're receiving with our content and everything every day too. So money is a tool. So money alone is neutral. It has no energy, so it can't be the root of all evil. It can't be anything because it is just literally like this paper. Like, does this look evil? It's not doing anything evil, right? So it's just a tool. It's a tool like a knife. If you have a knife, with that knife, you can cut strawberries and feed it to your lover and have a beautiful connection and experience together, or you can use it to stab someone and kill someone. So the knife alone is neutral. And we put all of this stigma and ideas around money, but money is actually neutral. It's innocent on its own. It's the intention behind. And I know, like, working with my clients and my friends, just listening to limiting beliefs, I really wanted to touch on this because one of the main beliefs that comes up is money is the root of all evil, or that wealthy people are bad or greedy or selfish. And if I have a lot of money, I might become selfish. And it's a totally like, these beliefs are ingrained into the collective consciousness. So if you have them, it's totally normal. How often should we repeat affirmations? That's a good question, Julie. I say every day. And obviously, if you forget a day, it's not like a huge deal, but as often as we can. When I'm really like, when I started this work for the first year and a half, I was doing them every morning and night until I got to a really good space where like I don't catch myself at all anymore. Just with the limiting beliefs that I used to have around money. And I've done that around like affirmations for self-love every morning. I'll also get into like when the best time is too in this class. But yeah, I would do it every day, especially if you're just starting with this. And it's easy. Like you can listen to them when you're driving, when you're just waking up, like doing your morning routine. It's easy to fit into your schedule if you just remember. So I'd say at least once a day. And if you forget, it's like no biggie. And then, yeah, money is a sacred amplifier. So money, if you're a greedy person, it's going to amplify the greed, right? And if you want to help others, then it's going to amplify the kindness and your ability to help more people. And that's why, like, I used to only teach tantra and spirituality. And then as I kind of healed my I definitely healed my relationship with money and abundance and around these areas, I became quite passionate about sharing on these topics because, as I said, like over 90% of people in the spiritual community really have the stigma around money. And I just want to see those who are genuinely, showing up to better themselves and better the world. Those are the ones, especially at these times, that need money. So if you have limiting beliefs around money, and I know if you're here with me and you're attracted to my work, you're just an epic human and you're one of the ones that, want to make a difference and a change, then you need to just get over that and know that like you're one of the people, one of the souls on this planet that needs to be rich, baby. You need to have the money to be wealthy, to create the change that you want to, right? And for me, sometimes like to get over limiting beliefs and fears, I just have to remind myself that's for something bigger than me. Like it's not about my ego. It's not about me. I can help more people. I can help my family. I can make a bigger impact if I call in more money. So money is only a tool. It will take you wherever you wish, but it will not replace you as the driver. So just reminding you that it's just a tool and you're in the driver's seat always. So here, these are our brain waves, and these are the best times to reprogram the subconscious mind. So we started the conscious waking mind, waking state, and that's just normal, where we're at right now. And then the alpha, we're kind of chilling out, relaxing, light meditation. We can like reprogram the subconscious mind in that too, but where it's really going to stick is in the theta waves. And that's when we're just waking up in the morning, when we're just going to sleep, when we're fully relaxed after the day. And this is also why hypnotherapy is so powerful. And I've shared with you guys that I'm currently taking like a year-long course in hypnotherapy. So in this program, there's going to be a lot more hypnosis soon. And I'm investing in this because I think it's so powerful. Like, it's been the most powerful for me personally. And essentially what we're doing in hypnosis is putting the conscious mind to sleep so that the subconscious can really absorb the suggestions that we're giving it. You can call them suggestions or affirmations. So that's all it is. It's not like some weird magic thing where like you're putting someone to sleep and like making them do stuff. It's just relaxing the conscious mind. Like, you're still present, but your conscious mind's relaxing. And then that's really when the subconscious mind is more present and like that sponge again and ready to listen. So here I just put the best times to reprogram: waking in the morning, relaxing before sleep, during hypnosis, and deep meditation as well. Okay, so some notes on manifesting money mindset. So comparison is the root of separation. So in my program, Embodied Empress Mystery School, we touch a lot on the sister wound and comparing and jealousy and all of that, is innately within most of us as women, as just humans on this planet at this time, really. And it comes up a lot with social media, obviously. So if there's something you're trying to manifest, especially with money, if you're rejecting others' success, then your subconscious is like, I think I shared this last month, where, for example, if someone was like just bought a new Porsche and your dream is to have a Porsche, and your first reaction when you see that is like, oh, screw them. Like, they have a Porsche. Why do they have a Porsche? Like, whatever. Your subconscious is like, oh, okay, Porsche is bad. We don't want a Porsche. Like, push it away. And then that will actually like project into other things in your life. So one of my favorite lines to say is, thank you for showing me what's possible. In that program, like, I get all of the babes to jump on Instagram and just say that to women that inspire them. Thank you so much for showing me what's possible. And when you celebrate others' success, then you're celebrating your own. And this goes back to the law of oneness that I shared last month, which is remembering that if something is possible for someone else, then it's 100% possible for you too. So just because someone has something doesn't mean that, it absolutely means that you can too. So you should be celebrating that. And I make a point of like commenting, or whenever something happens in my friends' lives, like I make an extra like over exaggeration of celebrating, because I want that too. I'm like, fuck yeah. And it's awesome that they have it. So I'm like, let's celebrate. So always celebrating and not creating the separation with others, because then we're also creating a separation with our own dreams. And then focusing on being and becoming. So loving yourself where you are at right now, number one. And this is just important when it comes to wealth and money as well, because there's so many people in the world that, for example, grew up like I did with very little money. And I had this huge, I actually am lucky that I found this out when I was young. I had this huge motivation, as many do, like, people who are missing like attention and money when they're young will often try like chase like fame and wealth and all of those things. And a lot of them become successful. And when I came into a lot of money when I was in my early 20s, and I was suicidal when I finally got there. And that's because I was basing my happiness on, I just have to make this amount. I just have to have this car. I just have to have all of these things. And then I'm going to be happy. I can't wait to get there. And I was obsessed with it. Then I got there and I literally I didn't want to live anymore, because I'm like, I worked so hard to have all of this, and it means nothing if you haven't cultivated that abundance and wealth and love and attention and validation within first. So always focusing on the self-love first, and putting yourself in environments where the energy of anything is possible exists. So playing in the realms of everything is possible. Meditate on this. Like, do you believe really anything is possible? Anything, like, looking back on history of the crazy fucking shit that humans have done, like literally that came from people, like from an idea, but it also came from the idea that anything is possible, like power, the vehicles, like internet, computers, Do you think like, it looks like magic, like all this is so magic. We don't like, most of us don't have the idea of how this would even happen, but that came from someone believing that anything is possible and everyone around them telling them it's not. So you need to get on to the frequency that anything is possible. Whatever I want is possible. And stretch yourself beyond what you believe to be possible. So immerse yourself around mentors, courses, friends, people, books, podcasts, YouTube, around people who have that mindset that anything is possible. And I say it all the time that usually the thing standing between us and our dreams is what we believe to be possible and how we feel about ourselves. So those are like the two main things before we can start, really working towards calling in large amounts of money. And we also won't hold on to it unless we really feel worthy of it. Balancing the feminine, receiving masculine action, always important. Knowing when it's time to receive, to sit back and receive, checking in with how we receive anything, like people opening the door for us, how we receive compliments. And that's going to show in how we receive money as well. How do we receive, like, well, depending on your type of work, but say tips or gifts in life, like how are you receiving that? Is there a big blockage there? And then knowing when to take action and actually work hard for it too, because in most cases, it's not just going to come to us for sitting around and dreaming about it. And getting your energy up, the energetics is such a big part of it. And, we touched on that on the masterclass last month, just keeping your energy up, keeping it flowing, becoming a magnetic match to wealth and celebrating it like it's already yours. So really celebrating your energy around wealth. So it's not, that's also checking in with how you, as I just said, like comparison and how you see others and how you see success. So really putting on your sexy detective trench coats, babes, and doing a lot of reflection on your thoughts, on your speech, on the people around you, how they're talking about money and everything, right? It doesn't mean you have to stop hanging out with them, but just really reflecting on that. Your music, like really paying attention to what you are receiving on a daily basis and how it's affecting your money mindset. And here I'm just repeating the speech. Your speech really matters. Like your words are so powerful and they become your reality. So some of my clients will just say things like, it comes out where there's just so many limiting beliefs that we speak all the time and we don't notice. And we're like, well, I don't know why I'm getting ahead, but I don't think I deserve that anyways. Like we can say things like that. And it just becomes such a normal thing in our society to like talk poorly about ourselves. It's really sad, really, especially when it comes to self-love and things. But when it comes to money, like it's so normal to say, oh, I can't afford that. It's like, can you really not afford that? Or that's expensive. What is expensive? It's subjective. And is it really expensive? Like, what is expensive to you? Really watching your dialogue around the words that you're saying around wealth and money. And I would invite you to spend just one day, even only one day, of actually keeping your journal with you and paying attention to your inner and outer dialogue around money. And you might be surprised what comes up, or even just yourself as well, not just money. Priya, sorry guys. Okay, come here. You were so good for a bit. Okay. So self-discovery equals self-awareness equals self-worth. So I'm really big on self-discovery, and this is why I have 2 books on just journal prompts that I published, because I love journal prompts and just really getting to know yourself. Because when I started my self-love journey, I had 0 self-love and 0 self-worth. Like I was just sort of the modeling industry in 2 very, very abusive relationships that really knocked me down, like in every way possible. I had eating disorders and I had suicidal tendencies. Like I had all of it, And when I started this, I was like, holy shit, I don't even know anything about myself. Like, how am I supposed to love myself when I don't even know who I am? Like, I've been identifying with everything externally in my relationships and everything. So you can even just Google like journal prompts, dive into it when you get to know yourself fully. And that's the work we're doing here. When you learn your limiting beliefs and what you really desire, then it creates this self-awareness. Hold on. Priya, stop. Come here. Oh my God. She's so funny. She's like up on the couch right now. Hold on. Hey, here's Priya. Okay, my little protectress. Okay, so yeah, self-discovery. So then you create self-awareness, and that's really the work that I was suggesting of actually putting on the trench and becoming a detective, just exploring, your thoughts, your energy, and just becoming so aware of it. And then that equals self-worth. And that is really the question of, do you feel truly worthy of external wealth? Really being honest with yourself in that process. And, that's number one that I mentioned, because if you don't feel worthy, you're not going to hold on to money, even if you make it, right? They've actually done studies where 70% of lotto winners, and we're talking like millions and millions and millions, 70% lose all the money within the first 3 years, and 1/3 of them go bankrupt, which is crazy. And that's because it could be many things, obviously, but they're not used to having that amount of money, and they may not feel fully worthy of it, and they don't know how to manage it. So it's just like we go back to what we're familiar with. And that's why the consistency of the work and really like creating these new neural pathways within our brains, that, these new patterns of thinking, is so important. So if you don't have that inner worthiness, then you're not going to hold on to the money. So it really is an inside job. Does anyone have any questions? We're going to go into a little meditation, visualization, and some journaling. So just going to open up any space before we dive into that. And this will probably go a little bit over an hour. Okay, cool. All right, then we can just begin. So journaling. Who here has seen Lucifer? It's a show I'm watching right now. Has anyone seen it? Yay. Okay, Julie has. So it's like this sexy British man. He's the devil, but he has like this superpower where he gets to ask anyone, like, so what is it that you truly desire? And then their deepest desires come out, which would just be like such a cool superpower to have. Obviously, he's the devil, so he gets to find out everyone's like dirty desires. So what is it that you truly desire? And it's just an interesting question, because I was thinking about it, like, how often are we asked that? Like, are we fully aware of what it is that we truly desire? Because maybe we think, oh yeah, I want this and this, but like, have you actually sat with it? Like, what is it that I actually deeply desire? So journaling, if you could ask your subconscious, like a magical genie in a bottle, it could grant you 3 wishes right now around your wealth, finances, and abundance, what would they be? So 3 wishes. And I'll give you a couple of minutes to answer these next few questions. So gonna play some Bob in the background. Okay, so if you've come up with that, you can hop on to the next one. I'll give you a few minutes to write this out. What are your current limiting beliefs around all three of those desires? So coming up with at least one or two limiting beliefs that you have around each of those desires. When we're thinking of our limiting beliefs, what were our parents or our environment we grew up in limiting beliefs as well? Because we've probably picked them up on some level. So we'll just finish that up. Okay, so when you're done, just taking a moment to read over those limiting beliefs and taking them in. Maybe some you are already aware of, maybe some you're just seeing for the first time. And just taking them in without judgment. Be going into a meditation together. So making sure you're comfy. Gently closing the eyes. We'll just begin by taking a few breaths again. Deep inhale in. Audible exhale. Deep controlled inhale. One more time. Inhaling as much as we can. Releasing tension with the exhale. Dropping into this moment, into your body. and envisioning yourself in your most favorite place in the world, somewhere in nature. It's maybe a forest, maybe a secluded beach, field of flowers, wherever it may be. Your idea of paradise. Maybe there's birds singing, waves crashing, sounds of the forest. Taking it all in as you walk down a path, breathing deeply. Everything around you is so beautiful and calming. And as you walk along this path, eventually you see a house. And it's not just any house, it's your dream home, however it may look. Your dream home, if you had unlimited money, unlimited resources, if you could create any home for yourself, this is it. And you walk up to the front door, looking around and taking it all in, feeling completely at home in this space as you open the door and walk inside, looking around your kitchen, your living space, your decor, how you would design your home with all the money in the world. Taking it all in. And taking a seat because you feel so at home in this beautiful home. You know exactly where to sit, your favorite spot. And sitting in that spot, maybe there's a view. Taking a good look again at your home. And a mirror is now floating in front of you. And this mirror shows you your present day reflection. And as you look at yourself in this present day, bring those limiting beliefs that you wrote to your mind. Looking at your reflection, bringing them to mind without any judgment. They just are. Thinking of those limiting beliefs. And with them in mind, see your reflection 1 year into the future. If you allow those limiting beliefs to have power over your self-worth, to have power over your decisions, and ultimately your life. If you continue to allow them to keep you playing small, to hold you back from just going for it fully, how do you look 1 year from now if you hold on to these beliefs and fears and allow them to create your reality? How are your relationships? How's the amount in your bank account? How's your business, career, friendships? How do you look? How does your temple body look? How do your eyes look? Now skipping even further into the future, 5 years from now, seeing your reflection 5 years from now, if you allow these limiting beliefs to weigh on you, to affect your self-worth, to affect your relationship to money, to abundance, to receiving. What's your love life like? Do you have children or family? What ideas or lessons are you passing down? How's your business if you're still in business? How does your life look? How does your reflection, your eyes look? If you never committed to releasing those limiting beliefs, if you carried them with you, if you allowed them to continue to hold you back, and skipping ahead even more to 10 years, these limiting beliefs and fears are still running the show, are still holding you back in many ways. 10 years into the future of holding on to these beliefs around your own abundance, around your own worth, what you believe you are worthy of in your business, in your love life, your career. Do you still have a career? Do you have an epic love, or did you settle? How's your bank account 10 years in the future, holding on to these limiting beliefs? How's your body? What are the consequences of choosing to hold on to these beliefs for another 10 years, another decade? You've held on to them up to this point already, which could be decades. Take a deep breath in, holding it at the top for a moment, and sigh out. Know that today you have the power to rewrite your story, starting right now, to let go and release these limiting beliefs, to commit to changing them, to rewrite your own story, to create more empowering beliefs. And that doesn't mean they might not come up. Fears will probably always come up, but not allowing them to control your decisions, your state of self-worth, to take back, to fully reclaim your power in all situations, and to just go for it. In any moment, we have the option to rebirth ourselves. You have the option now to release these limiting beliefs, release them out of your womb, out of your heart, out of your body, out of your being. Take a deep breath in again, holding at the top, sucking in a little more. And with the exhale, giving yourself permission to fully release and let go. Pushing them out of your body, feeling that release, reclaiming your power and your worth, knowing that you are the creator of your reality. Maybe you forgot that truth, remembering it now, reclaiming that truth as your own. And you look back in the mirror and you see a new version of yourself, your future, wealthy, luxury self. See her clearly in front of you. And envision this woman, this human, this beautiful soul looking back at you. And envision them 1 year from now. Your reflection 1 year from now, from this exact day, this exact moment, if you released those limiting beliefs, if you didn't allow fears to hold you back, if you did the thing that has been scaring you most, if you just fucking went for it, That's the you that's staring back at you. She's empowered. Look at her eyes. She has a radiance, a calming, empowered, confident radiance. Exactly 1 year from now, if you choose to release those limiting beliefs and to really commit to the work every day because you know you're worth it, how would you look? How would your life look? What are you doing in your day? What have you called in? What have you made happen for yourself? Are you in a relationship? How is your relationship? How's your love life? How's your sex life? How's your health? If you decided today to just go for it. And skipping ahead all the way to 10 years. 10 years into the future from this day, if you released those limiting beliefs, if you stuck to doing this work, to committing to your growth, what have you made possible for yourself that you might have previously thought was impossible? What level of success have you reached? 10 years, a whole decade into the future of releasing limiting beliefs, of coming back to your true self, to your innate abundance. If you knew and know that you are fully capable and worthy of everything that you dream of and desire, how would your life look in 10 years? How do you look? How's your skin? Is there a sparkle in your eyes? How do you hold yourself? If you didn't let those limiting beliefs control you or hold you back, how would your energy feel? Look at yourself now. How does your energy feel? Does it feel empowered, present, calm? The frequency of abundance, success, riches, knowing that you are so, so worthy of it all. And take one last look at yourself in the future. If you release those limiting beliefs, allow your future self to be the one to show you what's possible. And the mirror disappears, and you hold that image like a photograph within your being, encoded into your body already, as it is already yours. If you make that choice today, she is already you, and it is already yours. And you stand up, taking in your future home again, your millionaire home, your luxury self, and walking out of the house, looking around again, taking another picture, reminding yourself of what is possible, and coming back to this present moment. You wiggling your toes a little, your fingers, rubbing your hands quickly together, generating heat and placing them over the eyes. Just bring your awareness to your breath. Take a deep breath in. Audible exhale. Blinking the eyes open. Coming back to me. How's everyone feeling after that? I'm just going to share a couple more things and then just inviting you after this. I'll give you a little bit of homework actually, but also inviting you to write your experience with that meditation. What came up for you, what you saw. And then moving forward, you can write this in your journal as your homework. So creating your own affirmations around those 3 wealth desires. I know I give you guys monthly affirmations here, and you can listen to mine as much as you want, but it is super powerful for your subconscious to hear your own voice speaking it too. And also making a note, I don't think I put it here, but remembering to speak it in the present tense. So not, I desire $1 million, but I have $1 million and I'm so grateful. It feels so good to have $1 million. And you can record that on your phone, add some music in the background if you'd like. So creating your own affirmations and then going over those limiting beliefs and finding evidence. So again, investigating evidence that they're not true. So for example, if your limiting belief was money is the root of all evil, do a little research online. Who has done incredible things for humanity, for this world with money? Who has done truly good, amazing things with their money? So reinforcing and repeating your new beliefs. So find evidence to disprove and then create new affirmations around that. And sometimes, like, you can even take my affirmations if you don't feel like you're super good at creating affirmations. Like, you can literally just copy mine and do it in your own voice, and it's powerful. I've done that before with teachers in the past who have like accents, and I just feel like my subconscious, it doesn't feel like me. I've redone like basically the same ones or the same meditation with my own voice, and it's been super powerful for me. Yay. So, little quote to end this: you can only become truly accomplished at something you love. Don't, yeah, don't make money your goal. Instead, pursue the things you love doing and then do them so well that people can't take their eyes off you. I just want to end it with that because just a reminder that it's so fun to call in abundance and money and wealth and all of it, but coming from someone who has literally had absolutely nothing, like eating at the food bank, nowhere to live. I've been homeless before, to someone who has as much money in the world that I could imagine. It really actually doesn't make a difference at the end of the day if you're not living in your heart. If it's all externally and you're attaching to that, it's not going to give you the feeling that you're desiring. So coming back to the heart, serving from the heart, always having our goals, always making, when we create our goals, always having one for the collective, because we always rise higher when we are serving from our hearts and we're lifting others up with us too. So yay, I wanted to end it with that. So thank you so much, my loves, and inviting you to reflect on that meditation as well. And then I will upload this class and also the notes. So if you missed anything, that will be up soon. So powerful. Thank you. Thanks, Kat. I'm glad you thought so. I hope you and your mom enjoyed it. Yay. So just opening any space if anyone has anything you'd like to say before we jump off here. Thank you, love. Thank you for making it to the live. Well, as always, you can ask me questions in our Telegram group. Let me know, give me any feedback. I love to know how this information and also the practices and exercises land in your life. So, really getting on, becoming the detective, explore, bring awareness to your thoughts, your speech, especially for the rest of this month. Like, make it a goal. We have, what's today? Like, we still have, well, a little less than half the month, but committing to the rest of July, just really focusing on our dialogue, what we're saying, what we're speaking, because what we speak is, it creates our reality. So just really paying attention and yeah, share in our group too, what you have coming up. I would love to know your limiting beliefs that came up in the practice and everything. Yay. Okay, my loves, thank you so much for being here with me. I love each of you, and I hope you have a beautiful day or evening, wherever you are in the world. And I'll see you for our next class. Bye, sisters.